Hoshi no Hayuku! Hello everybody, welcome to Rob's Rogues, and today we are taking a look at Samurai from Wave 18 of the DC Universe Classics line. And there was Samurai's catchphrase. Am I going to try to do all the catchphrases during this series? Yeah, I'm gonna, so you'll just have to bear with me. Of course, this is Samurai, as I have said. Yes, for those of you that were asking and wondering, when I said I wasn't going to do any more Collect and Connect, if you've seen the other reviews, just celebrated my 5-year anniversary, so my wife picked up a few figures, and this was the second figure that she picked up for me. The first being Captain Boomerang, and this one being Samurai, and I was able to find all the other ones. I still have 2 yet to pick up, but I'm in the process of picking them up, and I should not have any problem doing so. So this was a rather easy wave to pick up, mainly just because the store shelves were, you know, fully stocked with them, and people just weren't buying it for whatever reason. We'll get into the bio here real quick as it's up here, and then we'll get into the figure and all of the other fun stuff that comes with it. So the biography for Samurai is granted superhuman powers by the new gods on New Genesis. History professor Toshio Ito, if I'm saying that right, vowed to use his new power for good. He patented his crime-fighting persona after the heroes he admired most, the samurai warriors of ancient Japan. Guided by the ancient samurai code of honor, Samurai is a fine role model and a member of the Super Friends in their global crusade against evil. So we'll drop the camera down here a little bit and check the statistics on our good friend Samurai here. First appearance, the all-new Super Friends Hour, 1977, and I believe he is the oldest Super Friend of the 4 that were created for the show. I think he and Black Vulcan might have actually been created at the first time, but I think Samurai was the first to appear, so just for that, I believe he is the oldest of the 4. Real name Toshio Ito, and I haven't seen Black Vulcan's biography yet, but I believe he and Black Vulcan are the only ones to actually have a secret identity. Occupation, history professor, basis of operations, the Hall of Justice. Special abilities, can summon strong winds that allow him to fly, knock down foes, summon flames, and cast illusions and invisibility. And of course, the other figures in the wave, you have Black Vulcan, El Dorado, Toy Master, Captain Boomerang, Samurai, Bronze Tiger, and I put them all together to get the impressive Apache Chief. So there is Samurai right there. While we were talking about Apache Chief, here's what we have. Turn some light on here. Here's what we have completed so far: the head, mid-torso, and the underoos. Samurai came with the left arm, so we will plug that in, and there we are. It's going to be a very impressive figure to have Apache Chief with all of the Super Friends, if you will. So move him off to the side, and we'll get into the Samurai. Drop our camera down a little bit more. Maybe back it out some. And there we are. So like I said, I believe if I am doing my math and episode count right from the Super Friends Legendary Superpowers show, Samurai is, there he is depicted right there. Hey, that's me. On the DVD. You can now find these in, I bought this one at Walmart. The next series is out currently, so nice little nostalgic trip back in time watching these and kind of seeing some of these characters here. A really nice face sculpt on Samurai. Sports all of the standard DC UC articulation. He has no double joints like Captain Boomerang did. The Captain Boomerang is the only one in the line with any extra double joints. Kind of see where they attached his tunic type thing in the back. The tunic does hinder. He can swivel at the waist really good, but the ab crunch, the tunic after a while starts getting pulled up a little bit higher into his arm, so it does kind of prevent. His arms can go all the way around, so he doesn't have any real major issue. He can't get his arm close into his head just because of the tunic here. If I can keep him in the frame, apologize for that. As you can see, he does come with an accessory. His sword here. His lightning sword, or samurai sword, if you will. It's kind of a little flimsy. Mine was kind of mangled on the box a little bit. Was almost bent in half, so I've been working on trying to get this straight. You know, put it in water, froze it, and put it in the freezer. So, but like I said, all the normal standard DC UC articulation, blah blah blah. So we're not going to go over all of that. The big thing for this line for me, this was a line I kind of hem-hawed about buying just when it came out initially, just because I grew up watching the Super Friends and seeing, Samurai and Apache Chief and El Dorado and Black Vulcan. And the show was always kind of cool. I didn't realize at the time they weren't actual real comic book characters. I'd actually had watched the show and then was trying to look at Justice League comic books and trying to find out more about these characters that I had seen on Saturday morning cartoons, only to find out in my adult years that they never existed. They were just created to have some diversity in the for the kids and people of these ethnicities to have a hero they could call their own. So I always thought that was kind of cool. It was kind of sad and disappointed that these characters never received a life of their own outside of the cartoon. Even though they are kind of one-dimensional, in some ways kind of stereotypical, and I don't mean that as a negative. I think they're just trying to cram so much into an hour or a half-hour cartoon show that they don't have a chance to really flush out, secret identities. The only characters that really had secret identities were Batman and Robin, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And maybe from time to time you would get, when the Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, was on there, they would kind of talk about Hal Jordan. But far as everybody else was concerned in the show, there was really no secret identities. Firestorm did have a secret identity, but pretty much everybody they just concentrated them as being in their superhero. And I think most of the biographies from the boxes were done by DC Universe. Maybe they kind of had some biographies previously to go on by, but as far as the show was concerned, I don't know. Samurai may be the exception, where he was one of the original four, so maybe they talked about him being the history professor. I haven't got to that episode yet to see if that's the case. Maybe it is. So it'll be interesting if I can make it through the whole DVD series and find out if maybe he does have a little bit more of a backstory. But generally, the four main that were created for the show didn't generally have any backup stories at all. But I kind of went off on a little tangent there to... when I saw this line hit, I thought, man, this would be really cool, a nice nostalgic feel to have, and to build a superpowers team on my shelf. But I thought, well, I'm not going to spend the $15 per figure. I would love to get Apache Chief, but I just kept waiting and waiting for the prices to go down, and that's what my wife did. She saw that there was a buy one, get one free, so, buy one, get one 50% off. So... that was really nice of my wife. Basically, I think she picked him up for $7. Whatever the math ends up being for a $15 figure. So you can do the math. This isn't a math show, is it? So Samurai is going to look really cool on the shelf. And once I have them all on my shelf, I will kind of keep, the four main from the Super Friends all kind of together on my shelf to kind of represent that. And I may try to pick up some of the other Super Friends maybe on eBay, maybe like Zane and Jaina, and maybe get Firestorm. I already have a Cyborg, so... But we're into the whole rambling section right here. I think this is a really cool figure. Looking at it now, his costume does look extremely silly. I think it even probably looked kind of silly back in the 70s and 80s when the cartoon series was on. You know, if he was in the comic book series nowadays, he would not be running around in these boots and shorts. I mean, it's kind of doing the samurai, sumo wrestler, all kind of thrown into one. But for nostalgic reasons, it does look very cool. The only other time we have seen a samurai figure was in the JLU 4-inch scale. He, Apache Chief, and Black Vulcan were made into 4-inch figures. So, and he was also a Superpowers figure. I forgot to mention that as well. So if you had a samurai figure, if you squeezed his arms for the Superpowers figure, his legs would rotate and turn to kind of simulate him, you know, flying, as he did in the show, kind of like with this motion here. So, but that's going to do the review right here for Samurai. And hopefully you've liked it. There are still more to come from this wave. We'll have all but 2 done. So right now, as always, this is Rob for Rob's Rogue signing off and saying we will see you next time. Hochi nu Hayaku!